Let's talk about Venezuela for a minute, because the administration has been saying all this week, with all the chaos that we've seen there, that all options are on the table. Does that mean an American military option is on the table in Venezuela? And do you believe the American people would support the use of American military forces in Venezuela?
Venezuela was once the second most prosperous nation in this hemisphere. And because of dictatorship and oppression and socialism under Nicolas Maduro, now 9 out of 10 people in Venezuela live in poverty. 3 million people have fled the deprivation of that country. My wife and I met with refugees during visits to Colombia, during visits to Brazil. And it's the poverty and suffering in that country at the hands of the dictator Nicolas Maduro is unspeakable. And now with the violence that we saw on television this week, 4 people lost their lives.
To use U.S. military force? Is U.S. military force on the table here too?
Well, look, all options have been on the table now for 2 years. I mean, in my first trip to South America, President Trump had already made it clear that that we reserved all options in dealing with what literally is a failed state in Venezuela. But look, we hope for a peaceful transition of power. I've met with President Juan Guaido, the legitimate president of Venezuela, who is recognized by the National Assembly, the Constitutional National Assembly. It's one of the things that we bristled at this week was the suggestion that there was a coup underway in Venezuela. The National Assembly was duly elected by the people, and Juan Guaido was named president under their constitution. His efforts this week are all part of a process of the legitimate president of Venezuela taking the reins of control. We've marshaled diplomatic pressure. Now, we were the first country on earth to recognize Juan Guaido as the legitimate president. I had the privilege of calling him the night before and telling him of the president's decision. The next day he would take his oath. More than 55 nations have joined us in this cause. We've put unprecedented sanctions on individuals in the Maduro regime, on enterprises in Venezuela. And as I said, President Trump hopes for a peaceful transition of power, and we are going to continue to engage nations around the world diplomatically, and we're going to continue to use the levers of this economy and economic sanctions until Nicolas Maduro goes and Juan Guaido is established as the president of Venezuela.